Good morning, everyone. I hope you had a nice weekend. I certainly did. It was a lot of fun. And we have a new week in front of us, right? The last week, pretty much, of October. And that, I believe, Thursday is the 31st Halloween. So get your costumes on. Mr. Kyle, can you see my screen and hear me okay?
Looking good and hear you loud and clear.
Yeah. You got your costume ready for Halloween?
Yeah, ready, ready.
Okay. It's funny. Real quick, I went to the club to do some swimming, and I couldn't hardly get in the parking lot. I'm like, what's going on? I forgot that Halloween, everybody brings their kids and in their costumes, so it's kind of funny. All right, let's move on to the charts and the markets here. Your captain's ready to discuss the voyage for this week, right? So the ES is working its way, trying to get back above here. We had the look on the S&Ps versus the Nasdaq's a little bit different, right? We made an all-time high last week, and then we started uh, single time framing lower, right? Here's the all-time high made during the Europe session, the trap here opening below it and selling off. And then we had this single time framing all the way down, right? Now, when we got back above the middle in the SPOOs, you could see this was a bit of a holding pattern. We dip below it here and over here. And it just so happens that right around the lows is where the daily EMA comes in. So for the time being, the market's just trying to regroup. You could see we're kind of in the middle of the range. You can almost look at this as equal swings above and below the overnight session inside the US session, which is this session here, right? So the jury's not out yet. If you look at the S&Ps, we could do uh, either or. Let's just look at it this way, right? So currently, I got more or less this range, which is a 2 week range and somewhat tight, not crazy. Had some recent, a nice move here, right? But the jury's not out. We could easily uh, take out the previous US session highs and go for the all time highs. We're not that far away. But on the other hand, if we take out 38, 58, 38, right around that level. There's multiple things coming in there. You've got the 30 high moving average around the daily EMA, and then it would be the previous lows that we made can trigger another leg back down. So we take out this US session low, which we went below there, that 38, got down to 33, just for confirmation. If we take out the US session lows, I can see then we'll probably take out this swing low and continue lower. Now, when you look at it from the NASDAQ, look, we have a little bit of a difference, right? The NASDAQ didn't even get close to testing the overnight highs in the last 2 weeks, right? And they did try to hold it better uh, last week, where we balanced and then we sold off. Uh, I think this was Wednesday, and then caught a bit of a bid and took out this sideways price overlap. So a little bit different, but the Nasdaq is trying to hold again. As you can see, the overnight session is moving towards the the highs of the U.S. session, right? So as far as going back to this ES, here's the point of control from Friday, point of control from Asia, and we tried to stay above there. that's a pretty big level anyway. So 76, 75, 76 is not only that, a point of control from Asia and Europe. Yeah, I mean, the US session, it's also the previous overnight highs, previous US session highs from Wednesday or Thursday. So, and you can see that level has been very key. So the pivot, as you know, is where I think the market personally can change in tone. So if we get back below 75 on the opening, I'll be watching that level. Now, also, we have a cave, these single prints right here. The market just didn't want to hang out there. Neither did the Asia market and the Europe session, right? Light volume, that's what this white means. So if they do get back below the pivot, we can make a play to fill in the blanks and do some tuck pointing here, right? Okay, let's look at some of these other charts. Let's start with the crude. Now, there was a little noise over the weekend overseas and miscellaneous, and so the crude uh, gapped lower, and of course the report was a little bit bearish because they had more than they thought they had on hand, but I never even look at that. The fact is, we did all this price overlap, right? And we couldn't really get going. Here we first came out of this little balancing act, and then we worked on the other side, came back in the middle, but I think they trapped along very much of a bull trap when you see this. All right, so now we have this huge gap right back where we did a lot of work, right? So they take the overnight highs out, which is very possible. They come back and try. But for the time being, I think we'll do some push back up. Don't get too happy about a full recovery of this gap because we have a gap from 70.60 down to the 69.80 or 90 level to 69. I mean, that's a huge gap. And we're trading actually about 400, 500 lower. So we could have some good volatility and we'll watch the market, but don't assume we're going to fill this cave, but this is the cave from the overnight session. And I would use pretty much this low here as a pivot at the moment because we're so far away. The pivot originally that I put in last night uh, before the opening was up there. And so sometimes we have to adjust our sights a little bit, but I would say this is going to be very pivotal. And that's the previous overnight session. We did test below it, but let's just see. Let's just take a quick look how it looks here, which is funny because you could see this gap. Um, so we did test below it, but we have some good support down below here, these previous lows. And this overnight low, basically it's this low right here. At 67.14 level right here, you can use as a pivot because if we get back below this overnight lows, we'll probably do a retest of this morning's lows. So we're going to have some volatility. We'll take one data point at a time. It's always good when it's like this to look at like a 30-minute just to see which way they want to go, 30-minute bar chart, or just watching these levels. Now you can see this level here, this previous swing low when we got below there, and that was right around that 68.10. The market really dumped. So we'll watch these two levels are going to be very important. This is where I think we're going to do some filling in the blanks. All right. All right. Let's move on to the gold. The shiny metal. Gold kind of, had its huge rally. Let's face it, I mean, if you look all the way back, looking at the gold, I can't even fit it on a chart. We're on an amazing uptrend, and that can continue. We keep making all-time highs. All we did here was just a little bit of a reset. Couldn't even get back into the previous gap from the 17th to the 18th. So we came close, but no banana. And then all we did was fill out this range. This range came from Wednesday, right? And we've been filling out and just doing some coiling up here. So you can't really guess which way we're going to go because we can easily come back and do some work down below here. We have a gap. We have a gap. We got the previous month's high. I mean, so uh, they might make a play for that. On the flip side, just use this U.S. session high and low for a parameter here. If they can take out this U.S. session high, uh, 65, they're going for the all-time highs, and we can make a play for that 2,800 above. But it looks like we're just going to do some two-way trading for now. My pivot comes in, it just so happens right at the overnight highs. So we'll just call it 2756. And on the downside, basically the overnight lows are important too because it's the previous U.S. session lows, so around 35. So 35 and 56 are the two over and unders. At the moment, we're going to do some two-way trading, I think. So, all right. This EC, continuing along with the bonds to get, to kind of punish the longs. I don't think there's very many longs in the market. I mean, considering where the EC came from, it's a pretty nasty move. But unlike the bonds, or let's say the crude gapping below the lows, previous U.S. session lows from, let's say, Wednesday, this is and this has been the lows now. We continue to make lower lows. So uh, all we did here was come down and trade inside the pocket, right? So kind of right here, if you drag this over, that's what we did. We came in, the pockets were catches the market, and then moved higher, which is a trap when you see this in the overnight session. And now we're kind of trading inside. If you looked at the let's just look at a bar chart, you can just see how nasty this sell-off has been, right? Now, one thing you want to take notice is this is the first PAV reversal Friday, and we're working on the second. We're still in a retracement possibility when you see this. Good support down here. Two pockets, two areas of price overlap below. So there is a chance that we finally get a little bit of a lift here. I would be more friendly to the upside short term. It's not over till it's over, but when you have this kind of move, more than 2 weeks of lower, kind of PAV sells and lower lows, and you could come out of this. And I wouldn't doubt it if today they test the previous overnight highs. Why not? Right? So this high here, 108.62, if we get above that, you could get a nice push up that can squeeze any shorts or start to turn the market a bit. All right. You got it, you guys. I got to do a Chewbacca. I love saying that. I don't know why. Okay. Let's see the bonds. So I wanted to show you the bonds because the bonds were definitely, this was a very trappish. This level that we had in from last week, the 117.13, when they got below it, they did this quick, squeeze, it stops. That's when everybody throws in the towel and says, I'm done shorting the bonds. And of course, it's trappish. And look at this 30-minute bar, right? And the reason why I put this here so that you can see that the first bar, the overnight range was done in the first 30 minutes. And then what do? They tippy toe back down to the support level that once we broke it, we fell apart down here and said, okay, it's still a good level. So 117.13 is going to be important on the downside. I don't think we're going there. I think they trapped the shorts and maybe squeeze the final longs out. And that's when it's all over, right, folks? Okay, my pivot is 118 to 16, which looks like we're going for it. It's a high volume node. It's Friday's POC, point of control. Thursday night slow. You can go all the way back. It's the inside pocket here. Previous point of control down here and low. So it's going to be a big level. And I think we're going there. It's going to be like a magnet. And probably will hold, possibly. But what I like to do is when you see these kind of moves like this, right? Just look at the overreaction below, this slip and slide, too much, too fast. Add that above, and it's possible we even get up higher. But certainly, uh, you got to take out that ridiculous spike and look at the support levels, kind of like this. All right. All right, let's get ready to rock and roll. Let's go back to our first, the ES and the NAS and our main page. This is, I'll put up the crude. This is the crude volume candles, the 5 minute. Here's the gold. You can see the gold is trying to work its way higher. Same with the crude, which I think you'll catch a little bit of a lift in those two markets. And here's the sprues still kind of working their way up, which initially I think we will go and try to test into the yesterday's high. I don't know how high, or Friday's high. I'm not sure how high we're going to go, but we let the market open up. And I'd say the first 15 minutes, we'll take a look at the volume and the price action. All right, I'm going to get some coffee. Let's rock and roll and have some fun this week. Put some numbers on the board, put some money in the bank. And all right, so I'll see you on the opening.